Welcome back, everybody, to the Nutritional Revolution podcast. I'm super excited for our guest today. First ever ultra endurance bike packer on the podcast. I am going to pronounce his name wrong. I'm going to let you say your name right now. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
That's the easy way. Hello, my name is Ulrich Bartholmoes. Dialing in from Spain,
Okay.
and my name is pretty German, so I have German roots.
Yes, amazing. And how's Spain right now? How's the weather?
Today it's super windy at our place. We live near the Mediterranean coast.
Wow,
Super windy but sunny.
amazing, amazing. I can see the sun gleaming in through the window. It looks beautiful. So many nutrition hydration questions we will get into because I'm so intrigued by all of this. But as our listeners know, we're actually going to go straight to our two truths and a lie. And I will take a guess at which one is the lie, and then we'll reveal it at the end for our listeners. So I'll let you break that down for us.
Good. So I've prepared the 3 points. So
Okay.
the first one is I train an average 40 hours a week.
Okay.
Um, the second one is additionally, I have a full-time job and a family.
Okay.
And the third one, if I go for a long ride, this can mean ride something like 4,300 kilometer or 2,700 miles.
Okay. I feel like,
I try to make it tricky.
yeah, I feel like you certainly could go for a long ride that's of that distance based on what I'm learning from you, maybe. I feel like training an average of 20 hours per week seems low for what you're
No, it
doing.
was 40 hours.
Oh, 40 hours. Okay. Okay. So that sounds a little bit more up your alley. I was gonna say 20 seems low. Feel like that might be the lie. And then you said you have additionally, you have a full-time job. Did you say
Sort
in
of like,
what?
yeah, as I have a full-time job as business consultant and a family.
Okay. Business consultant. Okay. Um, Well, because you had to look at your notes for that one. I wonder if that one might be the lie. But don't tell us the answer. We will reveal it for the listeners at the end, and maybe we'll get some stories with each of these truths in here. So tell us a little bit to kind of take us back a little bit and share with our listeners what got you into cycling. Did you grow up cycling with your family? Like when did you enter your first race? Share with us kind of how all that love began for the bike.
Yeah, well, let's say my cycling started pretty normal in terms of um, I grew up cycling to the school and back, stuff like this, and I grew up in Germany, mid of Germany, where it's well, not real mountains, but some hills. So
Hmm.
I did some downhill racing when I went to school, so I was already a bit into cycling, but let's say more for fun and with friends. And after school, I went to studies to the more flat parts of Germany. So downhill racing was not a thing anymore, and I stopped cycling at all for more than 10 years, and always say I was only riding the office chair back then, and eventually rediscovered cycling 10 years ago, so
Wow.
something like 2014.
Mm.
Got my first road bike and started soon with some competitive Grand-Fondo-like racing, which we have in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, and
Wow.
Italy. So this typical one-day races, something like I don't know, 150 kilometers, something like 80 to
Hmm.
100 miles, whatever. And yeah, I did quite a few of them and liked the competition, but also learned the longer the races were and the more elevation gain they had, the more I considered it as fun. And fast forward in 2019, I did my first ultra bikepacking race, which was the Transpyrenees.
Mm.
It's a race in northern Spain, going from the Mediterranean Sea to the Atlantic Ocean, all
Wow.
across the Pyrenees from east to west. It's about 1,000 kilometer. Um, so um, yeah, it's quite a ride,
Yeah.
and I actually had absolutely no idea what I was signing up for, and let's say it was all a big accident how I ended up doing this. So this
My goodness.
was totally not planned, but I was curious to try it, and it was just an super interesting adventure kind of thing. And in the end, I ended up winning it, and so
Wow.
my first ever ultra bikepacking race. And well, then the organizers were quite surprised and invited me because they were organizing another event like 2 months later, which was triple the length
My
and
gosh.
basically rounding the whole peninsula of Spain and Portugal.
Wow.
Drawing basically an outline on the on the southern part of Europe, of Spain and Portugal,
Wow.
on the map. And well, they invited me for this one as well. And it took me only a few days to say, yeah, okay, let's do this. And well, so I did this one as well, and in the end managed to win it as well.
Oh my gosh.
And so the rest from there is basically kind of history. I think until now, within the last 4 years, 5 years, I did something like 22 long distance races in total, which
Wow.
means everything between or everything more than 700 kilometers or 2 days in one go.
Goodness. And these are all on primarily dirt, right, for our listeners? Some
Um,
road or?
well, I did. It was a journey. So I started mainly with road racing
Mm.
in 2021. Converted a bit into gravel,
Oh, nice.
and recently last year turned more into mountain biking, a mix of gravel and mountain biking. And this year, my main races will be in the United States, and are mainly mountain bike races.
Wow. And going into that very first race, what you said you had no idea what you're getting yourself into. Did you do some like research of past participants' times for the races or no? Just went
No,
in blind.
not at all.
Yeah.
And looking back, I have just found some photos a while ago of all the stuff I carried for this. In the end, it was a 48-hour ride,
Wow.
or a 48-hour journey.
Wow.
And I found some photos of the stuff I carried for this race, and it actually looks like if I'm going for, I don't know, 1 week vacation or something. I even took a razor with me, because I thought like, yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Who knows how long you're going to be out there? Might need to shave.
yeah, yeah, and that's super funny, and I don't know actually what I expected, but it was a great experience
Wow.
to get into it, and obviously it was kind of addictive.
Yes. Yeah. With the past races you've done and talking about coming into this year's racing, you said you have, is it the Triple Crown is what they call it?
Yeah, that's my plan for this year, the Triple Crown Challenge.
So Tour Divide, Colorado Trail, and then the Arizona Trail.
Yes, all with the Grand Departs, which is in June, mid-June for Tour Divide,
Mm,
mid-August for Colorado Trail, and mid-October
wow.
for Arizona Trail.
Okay. So that's a good enough even spread out maybe between them.
I hope.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. So from your past experience racing, talking about pack, like how much maybe to pack or how most of these events are not supported, correct?
Everything I do
Ev-
is totally unsupported, so it means everything what I might need on my way, whether I have to carry it or I have to get it on the way from publicly available
Mm,
services.
hmm
So there is no outside support allowed if I don't know, friends of mine or family lives along the route.
hmm
I cannot stop there and have dinner there or sleep there,
Right.
but I can use supermarkets, shops, restaurants, hotels, whatever is publicly
Okay.
available.
Are you allowed to like pre-send your own self stuff to a post office box at all ahead of?
This actually depends on the race itself and
Hmm
on the rules of the race. In most of the races in Europe, it's not allowed
mm
to drop stuff somewhere or send stuff ahead.
hmm
For example, the three races on the Triple Crown, it's allowed.
mm
You can do it, but I mean, it depends on the approach if it's useful or not,
Yeah.
because you might end up sending stuff to a post office which has a schedule from
Mm.
I don't know, 8 to whatever 6,
Right.
and if you end up there, arriving there, I don't know, 30 minutes after 6 in the evening, you wait you wait 14 hours till they open again.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. So you've done Tour Divide before. Have you done the Colorado Trail race or the Arizona? No. Okay.
No, it's my second time on Tour Divide,
Okay.
and my first time on the Colorado Trail and
Okay.
Arizona Trail.
And with the Tour Divide past experience, how can you share with us what was that like from a nutrition and a hydration perspective? Meaning, I mean, how are you thinking about packing for that? But also, what did the days before you started the race look like? Are you just like hammering as much high carb foods in the days before? Walk us through that a little bit.
Well, actually, this unsupported racing and this unsupported ultra racing, nutrition-wise, it's nutrition is one of the big issues or most difficult topics
Yeah.
at all, because you burn, I mean, based on your physiology and
Right.
on your metabolism, you burn something around 8 to 12,000 calories a day,
hmm
depending on the terrain and everything as well. And whatever you do, it's probably more than your body is able to process.
Right.
So you end up, no matter what you do, um, you typically end up in a daily deficit.
Yeah.
Um, so depending on the length of the race, it's a good idea and a good approach to get some buffer beforehand. So it's not so much about carbo loading the day or the hours prior start, but it's more like literally getting some fat reserves on
Yeah.
the week or the 2 weeks before the race. And my body is somehow talented that I can gain and lose weight in a minimal amount of time. I don't know why. It comes in handy. So that I can get a bit chubby 2 weeks before the race, and it will be gone
Yeah.
as soon as I'm on the way.
Right.
So, well, leading up to the race, for me, it's more I don't change the diet at all, or I
Mm.
don't really focus on more carbohydrates or something. I just increase the size of the meal or the amount of food. A little bit, and especially going into a race like Tour du Mont, which is 2 weeks long for me. I focus on really enjoying the meal and really having good food,
Yeah.
because when I'm out there, um, I focus on not wasting time at all. So most of the food I eat on the bike, and I try to get a hot meal once a day, which then is more like, again, super fast. It's not sitting there for an hour and really enjoying, but it's like just literally smashing food into the face and get going again.
Yeah.
And therefore, it's also a mental thing to before the race and also after the race, just to sit down, enjoy the time I have, and just enjoy the food and the meal,
Yeah.
which will be not possible, at least with my racing strategy.
Right.
Just not possible for the duration of the race itself.
Yeah. Getting in a hot meal, are you grabbing something from like a town, or are you making like a backpacking meal and boiling water?
No, I go with a minimal setup, so I don't have stuff to cook with me or anything. So the what I get is typically from fast food restaurants or
Mm.
anything where I mean, it depends on the location and how remote it is and
Yeah.
what services are available. But the idea behind is basically get whatever is available fast. And yeah, if it's hot, it's a treat for the soul. If it's not, it's also food. So
Yes.
just get it.
Yeah. You mentioned fast food, so are we talking like French fries or pizza or that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
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 So racing internationally, what's literally beneficial is franchise enterprises like Burger King, McDonald's,
Yep.
whatever, the big brands, because I mean, in the US it's not such a big deal, but
Hmm.
I raced in Eastern Europe, or in parts of Africa. Um, it can happen if you grab food from local shops, local restaurants, whatever, small places. You might end up with food poisoning because whether your stomach is not used to it, or
Yeah.
because of the quality of the food or the quality of the preparation is bad. So actually going to a place like Burger King, you know what you get. You actually know the nutrition facts of a Whopper,
Yeah.
and that helps, and also they have international standards of hygiene and preparation and stuff. You know, this burger is not there since 2 days
Right.
and waiting for you, but it's kind of prepared on demand or near demand, whatever.
Yeah.
And for sure, that's not delicious if you visit countries in Africa or something where you say, I want to have the local food experience, and then you go to Burger King, yeah. But it's safe on the other side. So
Right.
you have to set priorities, and for me, being or aiming for a competitive level, I prioritize the effect in terms of energy supply and the reduced risk for food poisoning. I prioritize it more than a
Yeah.
delicious, nice meal from a local shop.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it certainly plays a big impact, right? If we're not getting, excuse me, GI issues, or I mean, that would definitely hold you back. What about other nutrition during the day? Are you doing any sports nutrition products? Are you just loading up like each time you're able to hit a town and a grocery store with things from the store, or what does that look
Yeah,
like?
that's also super much dependent on the infrastructure,
Yeah.
whatever you can get. I typically use some sports nutrition products for the first 1 or 2 days,
Hmm.
um, and then have to switch to whatever I can get on route, simply because of the amount. Um, I need to consume something with I don't know, 6 to 8,000 calories a day, and calculating that into bars. You would carry a trailer full of bars for every
Very
day.
heavy.
Yeah, and so that's not practical. That's not possible.
Right.
The only thing which I carry for longer durations is something like electrolytes,
Mm.
so salt pills or similar products
Hmm.
that are super compact, and sure, you can carry them more easy.
Yeah.
But the rest you simply have to purchase, and then it totally depends on personal preferences, on
Right.
availability, whatever you get, and then still, even if it's gas station food or whatever, um, I try to have something of everything. So even like a liter of milk is
Mm.
um, is just uh, just a good thing for supporting recovery, and
Yeah.
has ideally some fat. I use a lot of nuts and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like this. And yeah, for let's say faster energy, it's Snickers bars,
Yeah.
because of the high density of calories in a compact format. That's basically what this ultra long distance racing is all about. If you want to go for a really competitive approach.
Right. Yeah. So how many miles are you covering in a day with something like the Tour Divide,
So
or
for
kilometers, I should
for
say?
the for the for the for the entire thing, I did something like 300 kilometers a day, which is
Wow.
nearly 200 miles.
Wow.
So
That's
that's
impressive.
that's daily average.
Gosh.
I mean, what it takes to win the Tour Divide.
Yeah.
You can, I mean, that's crazy on the Tour Divide, seeing the different approaches that people take. Last year, I met a teacher at the finish, and she took basically the whole summer off, just a tour from Antelope Wells, from the border of Mexico, to
Wow.
tour northbound. And she simply said, like, yeah, I want to go as far as I can within the next 3 months. And that's amazing. I mean, all along the Rocky Mountains, I really loved it. Otherwise, I wouldn't came up with the plan to come back. So obviously, it was a good experience, but it's also super cool, the different approaches that people take. So some people spend 1 month, 2 months, whatever, to do the full route,
Wow.
um, and I do 2 weeks.
Yeah. Wow. That's incredible. Really incredible. And when you're thinking about fueling, are you trying to get some nutrition in every so often with regards to like timing or mileage, or when you start to feel hungry, are you trying to really stay ahead of that?
Um, I have I have a reminder, kind of an alarm on my Garmin,
Yeah.
on my bike computer, which turns up every hour,
Mm.
and then I try to get something in some nearby. I mean, if I'm in the middle of a technical downhill or
Mm.
something, I don't stop and grab
Right.
something to eat. But I don't know, as soon as the downhill is finished, I just grab something, or whenever it's possible. But I try to eat every hour, and that's more easy for sure in the beginning.
Hmm.
After a couple of days, um, it gets really a hard thing, and it
Yeah.
gets annoying. But you have to do it.
Yeah.
It's constant burning calories. So you have to constantly burn it, and you really feel it. I mean, on those races, I don't sleep a lot. So my
Yeah.
average sleep is something 3 or 4 or 5 hours a night. Um, but that's typically um, when you don't eat, and when you wake up, you are so hungry,
Hmm.
because you lay down, you sleep, and the body is just burning, like when you're riding. It
Yeah.
doesn't stop, and therefore it's really a strange feeling when you wake up, or when the alarm. I mean, you don't
Mm.
wake up. Um, you just get up when the alarm um, is on,
Wow.
and well, um, then you have to have a big breakfast, which is, well, just whatever you have in your pockets,
Hmm.
a good dose of it, and then get going, and then continue eating every hour, and
Wow.
20 hours a day.
Yeah. Goodness. Do you have trouble falling asleep after those, like riding 200 miles of the day? I know some clients, when they race 200 miles, they have a hard time falling asleep after, but back to back days, does it get easier to fall asleep, or is that like,
I know that some people struggle with it, no matter if it's day one or if it's day 10.
yeah.
But I have a talent as well. I can lay down whenever and wherever, and I will fall asleep within, I don't know, less than 30 seconds.
Wow. That's
So
amazing.
I have my wife. She often plays audiobooks in the evening when we go to bed, and I only know the intro of the podcast, or of the audiobook, and that's done in 20 or 30 seconds, and then I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know the
Wow.
actual story. I always just hear the author introducing himself and doing his advertising, and then the actual
Yeah.
story, I don't know.
That is a gift you have. So you probably can sleep on planes and all that stuff, no problem.
Wherever, whenever.
That's
So
amazing.
that's super helpful
Yeah.
for this kind of racing as well. Yeah.
Sure is. So we talked a little bit about fueling and fueling products, timing of that. What about fluids? How much fluid do you carry on the bike on yourself? Um, like looking at some longer stretches.
Yeah, it can get really really difficult, and it really depends on um on the remoteness of the race and where the race actually happens and how the infrastructure looks like and the temperatures, the climate and everything. Um, so I mean um, if there is good infrastructure, I can carry 2 liters or whatever. If there is a good chance to refuel every now and then that's fine. But for example, on Tour du down in New Mexico, there are some stretches through the Gila National Forest where you don't see any kind of civilization for more than 10 hours,
Wow.
and where you barely have any. It's super dry. Last year it was super dry, so you have to carry enough water for multiple hours, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours riding in the heat. I think the biggest amount of water I carried last year was 8 liters.
Wow.
So that's basically fully fully loaded. I use a hydration bladder, and then I have the system where I can simply attach big water bottles from gas stations to it, and yeah, just carry massive amount of water because you will need it, and you don't know
Yeah.
when you again will find something. So um, yeah, that's the other super difficult thing.
That's really incredible. What kind of bike are you riding? Is this like almost like a road bike or a gravel bike, or is it like a hardtail?
It's a hardtail mountain bike, but
Mm.
built towards a gravel bike, so with a drop bar
Okay.
handlebar,
Hmm.
but based on a hardtail frame with a front suspension. Yeah.
Wow. And how much does your bike weigh with all that stuff on it?
I mean, with the luggage,
Yeah.
with everything I carry with the luggage, but without food and water, it's 12 kilogram. So
Wow.
it's super lightweight.
Hmm.
The whole setup is super lightweight, but for sure, if you add 8 liters of water, then it's 20.
Yeah.
And you have to take this into consideration as well, because I mean there is a lot of climbing involved, and
Hmm.
you don't want to carry 8 liters of water up a mountain if you don't need to. So
Right.
if there are enough sources of water in the mountains, or if there is infrastructure with shops or something around,
Hmm.
you don't want to carry this extra
Yeah.
weight all the time.
Do you bring a like water purifier with you for the,
Depending on the races, yes.
yeah.
So if it's in the high mountains and in high altitude where you typically have good quality water and flowing water, then I typically don't use it. But
Hmm.
I did some races in desert-like landscapes where you have the only chance to get water is kettle tanks or
Oh,
is
yeah.
it puddles. So then you definitely want to want to filter it.
Yes, yes. Oh man. Have you done any sweat testing to kind of figure out your fluid needs, or are you kind of going more based off of like experience and how you feel with the fluid intake?
I did a lot of research and testing earlier this year. So nutrition and everything around, and optimizing
Amazing.
this part of racing was a big goal for me, or is a big goal for me this year. So I did a lot of testing earlier this year, and so I know pretty well the amount of calories I need. So we did a metabolic rest
Mm-hmm.
testing, the amount of calories I need if I just lay on the couch and don't
Yeah.
move at all. And based on this, you can determine the amount you might need if you are more active.
Yes.
Um, and the same for hydration.
Great.
So I know what I actually need. That helps at least in theory.
Mm.
Um, and well, in the field, it's still difficult
Yeah.
because sometimes, um, for example, if you know the amount of calories, and one of the advices from my coach was to start the races with whole foods.
Mm.
And but this, I mean, the other way around, if you started with sports nutrition on day 1 and 2, you can carry a lot of sports nutrition for a day.
Yeah.
But carrying whole foods, it's a bit, I mean, what should I take? Like a sandwich with some, I don't know.
Yeah.
It gets more complicated.
Yeah.
So having the knowledge on the one hand side is super good. On the other hand side, it just brings up new challenges, and especially in the field of ultra long distance racing and this unsupported kind of bike pack racing,
Yeah.
there is very, very, very little knowledge available. And there is very little scientific research, and there is no data and nothing or not much um, on experience also about nutrition, simply because it's so special. And
Yeah.
then you typically try to start from a more generic approach coming from world tour racing or whatever, what is best practice there, and you try to adapt it. But for sure, it's a totally different game if you want to race, I don't know, a 5 hour race with maximum efforts in the climbs, or if you want to race a 5 day race with constant
Yeah.
efforts over 5 days. It's a different game, and there's plenty of space for know-how and knowledge to document.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I can't say that I've seen any published literature on ultra bike packing. They're starting to do a bit on ultra running, but it's also still very limited, right? But yeah, we'll get there. Hopefully, just we're trying to keep up with everything. But yeah, that would be fascinating to get some data on that. Just not how many people enter something like Tour Divide, or the Arizona Trail. It's not, is it that large of
Um,
a,
well, Tour Divide last year, it was 250 people. Colorado Trail and Arizona Trail are limited to 70 people on
wow.
the Grand Depart, but this is due to the national park law and stuff like this. But a lot more people touring it
Mm-hmm.
every year.
Mm-hmm.
So individual approaches. So on Tour Divide route, on the Great Divide mountain bike route, I would say you will have something like 500 to 1,000 people
Wow.
a year that do it or do parts of it.
Mm-hmm.
And also the big races in Europe, they gather up to 400 people for one event. So
Wow.
I think the community is massively growing, and
Yeah.
you have quite some um, quite some people doing it. So we're talking not about the crazy 10 people, but I would estimate um, something between 5 or 10,000 people worldwide are like signing up for this kind of races, or
Right.
did sign up, or whatever, plan to sign up. So, well, it's not it's still a niche in the niche in the niche for sure.
Hmm.
But it's growing.
Yeah. Wow. Just thinking about the data that like we could get from a research standpoint, like how would we get that too with something like that? But and what would we want to collect? But and how many people
Just
finish?
Oh, this also depends totally on the route and on the conditions. So
Yeah.
I um, 2 years ago we had here in Spain we had an event where 16 people entered and nobody finished. So
Wow.
it was quite demanding. Let's say it like this. If it's an easy race, then it's probably 70%. I would
Mm,
say an average overall, probably 50%.
wow.
And the reasons for not finishing vary from technical issues to
Yeah.
motivation to um, well, it's too hard to nutrition to stomach issues, whatever.
Yeah.
No, there is not the one big reason, but there are there's quite a bandwidth.
Yeah. Wow. Speaking about the mental willpower side, where do you think you got your willpower from?
Hmm. Um, Good question. I don't know, but it's a lot about discipline and self-motivation, and I have it somewhere in my personality since ever. So
Yeah.
if I'm convinced to do something, then I will do it, and that comes in handy for this kind of racing to have some determination and like fighting for the goal you want to achieve.
Hmm.
So I had it before I started this kind of racing. I had it already, but I think um, it's still developed and got more. Um, it got better over time, and
Yeah.
it's helping not only on those races but also in daily life,
Yeah.
in totally normal situations in the job or whatever.
That's amazing. I remember talking to a psychologist and they were talking about how endurance athletes have, I don't know if they already had it coming in and that's why it drew them to endurance sports, but the strong mental willpower and mental toughness, or if it gets honed to even more so from endurance sports like that. But yes, certainly there's something to be researched and looked at there. Do you do any reading with regards to like mental toughness books or anything like that?
Um, no, actually not. But sometimes I listen to podcasts
Mm, hmm.
while training or something, and yeah, looking for methods and getting inspired for any kind of methods to improve the whole mental game.
Yeah,
But it's it's totally individual. So
yeah,
you have to figure out there is not this one recipe you can simply apply and then it's a nice meal. You have to figure it out and you have to try different things.
hmm,
And not everything is working for everyone. But it's interesting to see the different approaches and the different possibilities.
yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, I'll ask you one last question, and then we can go into your two truths and a lie. But as we get into the season and the weather's warming up and talking about these longer duration races, and you're talking about going through New Mexico and low water availability, do you have any techniques that you utilize to help keep you cool, whether it's gear
Um,
or anything?
Yeah, that's also um, super complicated because I mean you cannot use a cooling vest because you don't have a fridge.
Right, right.
I mean the other thing is it's often it depends on the infrastructure if you can use water to cool down your head or
Mm.
your body. Because if you have a limited amount of water already, and you know, or you don't know when you get the next chance to refuel, then you will try to not waste it. You want to drink it instead of putting it over your head, even if it
Right.
would be nice. One thing is, if the weather is extreme, it can make sense to sleep during day. So
Mm.
just find a place in the shade and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, sleep from whenever, from 1 p.m. to 4 or whatever, and use this time and simply ride during night, because then it's cooler.
Yeah.
So this is one strategy um, which can be applied without carrying extra gear. It can have some advantages as well, because I mean, you don't need to carry extra gear for keeping you warm while sleeping during night.
Mm-hmm.
So if you sleep in the heat anyway,
Right.
it comes in handy.
That's
But
great.
yeah, besides that, I mean, you try to cool your core body temperature um, with water, or if there's any infrastructure, just buy some ice and I don't know, wrap it in any kind of whatever
Mm-hmm.
clothing you have and wrap it around your neck, whatever
Right.
helps for yeah, half an hour,
Yeah.
depending on the temperature.
Right.
But also there, I'm I'm pretty good and pretty used to heat acclimatization. So I live in Spain since a couple of years, and it could be pretty warm here in summer as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I I don't have any problem to train in the heat, and I also use sauna as a method to, well, to get used to the heat, um, and let the body adopt to it a bit, which is for sure helpful.
Yeah.
But I think it also depends on the individual physiology, how you cope with heat or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I also I prefer riding in the heat more than riding in the cold.
Yeah.
So
I'm on your level. I like the heat as well. Do you do any altitude training too with that, or do you live at altitude?
I live at sea level, so
Okay.
I guess 30 meters or 20 meters above sea level,
Okay.
if this counts as altitude. Um, but yeah, thinking about Colorado, going to do the Colorado Trail in August. I
Mm-hmm.
will come to Colorado like at least 2 weeks before,
Mm-hmm.
um, because you need to give the body a chance
Yeah,
to get used to the elevation as well.
definitely.
So, well, I wouldn't call it altitude training, but at least altitude adaptation.
Awesome. That's very great. Okay, well, I want to be mindful of your time here. So I'm going to circle back to our two truths and a lie. So we had that you train an average of 40 hours per week, that you have a full-time job as you said, a consultant, I think, right? And for your long rides, you could go anywhere from, did you say 4,000 kilometers could be a long ride? Now I feel like that might be the lie. I said the job one was a lie because I saw you look at your notes when you were repeating it. Which one was the lie?
It was actually the first one.
Oh, it was.
So to go for this kind of long distance racing, you don't need to train 40 hours. It's so basically my training is looking pretty similar to other cycling disciplines.
Really?
If I have long weeks on the bike,
Hmm.
then it's 20 to 25 hours on the bike.
Wow.
And then I do an additional I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours of other types, what I
Hmm.
include in the training hours, meaning going to the gym, also including sauna into training because it's like kind of related to training.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have a really long week and a lot of training, then it's probably something like 30 hours. But it probably does not happen that I do 40. So
Wow. Wow. Well, that's good to know. And your long rides that could be up to 4,000 kilometers, is that, are you doing that on a single given day, or are we talking
no,
like
that's a
that's a,
divide. That's a
yeah, I was gonna
divide.
say that seems that's a long ride, all right.
Yeah,
Um,
but
awesome.
it still counts as one ride if you can record it in one Garmin file and in one Strava file. So then it's a long
Incredible.
ride.
Yes, man. So you have to pack some batteries, I guess, or or charge. Like, how do you charge? Do you have a solar charge for your Garmin, or?
I run a Dynamo app and have a USB charger directly on the bike. So as long
Oh,
as you roll, as long you have kind of unlimited power.
cool. That's very clever. Amazing. Yeah, all the technology evolutions too for that, for the long distance sports stuff has to catch up. Okay, so where can people find you, follow along with your journey? Where can we link that in the show notes?
Yeah, mostly on Instagram. Bartholmoes, you can link my handle,
We'll link
and
it. Yeah.
especially during the events, I post daily updates, or at least try to post daily
Amazing.
updates on whatever adventure I survived this day, or whatever happened this day. Sometimes it could be really funny because for example, last year on Tour du I had really bad weather in the Great Divide Basin in Wyoming, and ended up sleeping, or well, not sleeping, but staying in a 1 square meter porta potty
Shoot, yeah.
with two other people. So this is kind of stories that come out of this
Wow.
kind of racing, and this can be typically followed on my Instagram.
That would be, yeah, hopefully no more porta potty events, but yeah, that is entertaining. Adds quite a story to your racing adventures. Well, we will link your Instagram in the show notes. And then do you have any races before Tour Divide that you're doing in preparation, or is that the next big thing?
That's the next big thing I will do in tour in 2 weeks here in Spain.
Oh,
A
great.
gravel race called
Fun.
the Tracker.
Oh,
It's like the Unbound XL,
yes.
but the European version distance is exactly the same like Unbound XL. So it's kind of inspired um, by Unbound, and it's on my home turf in
Amazing.
Girona, Spain. So I have to do it because I just
Yeah.
need to leave the door and I will be at the start line.
That's amazing. We have one of our clients is doing that race. So do you know Sarah Sturm at all?
By name, yeah.
Yeah.
I never met her, but I know her name, yeah.
She'll be over there. And yeah, in a couple in a week or so, she's gonna head over. So
Yeah, yeah.
she's but yeah, she does a lot of the gravel stuff in the US. But she's a joy if you get to meet her. She's super fun and friendly, and yeah, good person. So yeah, that sounds amazing. Well, we will be following along certainly on the gram for the Tour Divide and all your racing. Hopefully praying for no more porta potty situations for you. Overnighters in the porta potty, but and then we will link that in the show notes for our listeners. And thank you so much for joining us and sharing your story and your experiences. And all of this is, again, just so fascinating because, like you're saying, I feel like the ultra stuff and the ultra on dirt is just growing and it's becoming more popularized. And we're all kind of like learning as we go here. So it's great to hear from someone like yourself who's completed these successfully, right? And hear kind of how you experienced it. So really amazing for your time here, and thank you again so much.
you for having me on the show.